From the very beginning, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and told me, we're going to send you to a psychiatrist. You have this and it's real, but we don't know what to do with it. I went through the pain medicine doctor route, and boy, was that a mistake. So it was just a nightmare.
Hey everyone, today we're interviewing Joy, and she's been struggling for a 20 plus year, 2-decade long battle with some really common diagnoses that I see that are really linked to autoimmunity, but yet none of your doctors know they're related. She was struggling with fibromyalgia, endometriosis, hormonal hot flashes, insomnia, anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue syndrome, you name it, and digestive and stomach health to boot. And on top of all this, she even had a hysterectomy and was told that that would be the end of some of her chronic pain issues and hormonal issues. Boy, was that wrong. I can't wait to see where she is now and share with you what her journey has been to get her to where she is today, just 2 months later. I'm Maggie Yu, MD. I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician. I'm the creator of Transform and the Transform protocol to turn around any autoimmune disease naturally. If you want to learn more about us, there's a link above or below this video to chat our team. You can also join our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. If you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, or you're watching from YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs and a subscribe and give us a follow. Joy, let's have you introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, my name is Joy. I'm 49. I'm from North Carolina. My diagnosis has been fibromyalgia, depression, anxiety, endometriosis, brain fog, hypothyroidism, etc. A whole lot of things that I haven't been able to get help with for about 20 years.
So you feel like symptoms have started at least 20 years ago, 2 decades of this?
Really farther back than that, I would say, but the worst, the last 20 years.
Okay. What was your biggest frustration before joining our program? I'm curious, like this combination of symptoms is not unique. There's literally tens of thousands of people you're talking to right now with these same symptoms that aren't getting help. As a clinical physician who is practicing family practitioner and now a functional medicine physician, and I've had a 25-year career here, maybe 26 right now. So I'm curious, what was your experience with it? What was your biggest frustration dealing with your medical journey?
From the very beginning, I was diagnosed at Duke University. I'd been to several local doctors, and they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia and told me, we're going to send you to a psychiatrist. You have this and it's real, but we don't know what to do with it. And that was back in 1997. And since then, any doctor I've been to still, they tell me, we believe your symptoms. Some of them did not believe in fibro, and then I didn't go back to them. But they still had no clue as to how to help me. I went through the pain medicine doctor route, and boy, was that a mistake, and got off of Vicodin by myself because he wouldn't help me get back off of it. So it was just a nightmare.
So would you say, if I said your top 3 symptoms that you're dealing with, would you say pain one of the top 3 symptoms?
Yes.
Okay, so pain. What else?
Fatigue and depression, anxiety.
Okay, pain, depression, anxiety, but there are also gut symptoms you had mentioned.
Oh, a whole lot of gut symptoms. I have IBS, and I think I already mentioned I have endometriosis. I've had gut symptoms forever since I was at least 10. My mom would take me to the doctor for my stomach, and they can never find it.
So let's dig through some of these things. First of all, if your top symptoms was pain, depression, anxiety, irritable bowel syndrome, lots of bowel symptoms, lots of hormonal symptoms with endometriosis, that was where you were 2 months ago.
Right.
And before we dig into what happened, I'd like to know, where are you at now with these symptoms? Let's go through it. Currently, pain. Where was it? What level was it before the program?
Just every day was at least an 8, if you want to go 1 to 10. It got pretty bad.
And with fibro, it's all over, correct?
Correct.
Where is the pain now, 2 months later?
I'm being totally honest. Some days a 4, some days a 3, but it's nothing like it was.
So you went from an 8 to a 3 just over the past 8 weeks or so.
Right. And I know it's going to get better.
Congratulations. And then depression and anxiety. What level do you think it was before this program?
It had gotten pretty bad. I'd say about an 8 with it as well. And I'd say now about a 4.
4. Okay. Irritable bowel syndrome.
I'd say it was a 7 at the time I joined the program. Now I say it's a 2.
Okay. And what were your main symptoms? Was it diarrhea, gas, bloating, heartburn, pain? What was it?
The bloating especially. And I would go back and forth between constipation and diarrhea.
Alternating.
was daily. That was a constant. I had one or the other.
Okay. And then let's take a second into the endometriosis and hormonal symptoms. You had early menopause at the age of 32. You had endometriosis. You had a hysterectomy. What age did you have a hysterectomy?
38.
At 38 with the hysterectomy, this is a really common question in the Facebook group I get a lot. Does having a hysterectomy mean that you achieved hormonal balance and ended your hormonal hell?
No. And I had just started dating my husband. And so honestly, I possibly would have had a child. But the pain I was in when I had that, I couldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
I did the surgery, the hysterectomy, hoping to get out of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work.
Well, that's the thing is a lot of people think, oh, and they don't realize that when they go to a gynecologist, gynecologists are not hormone balancing experts. They're surgeons. And so the only offers that you're going to get from a gynecologist who you think is a hormone expert when you have these hormonal problems is birth control pills, antidepressants, or a hysterectomy. And if they work, that's great. But if they didn't, that's how most people end up here. Then you're dealing with chronic pain and worsening hormonal symptoms. Now, here's the thing. If you remove the uterus, people think that's the end of my pain. That's the end of the hormonal problem. Okay, they removed the uterus, the pain continued, and then what other hormonal symptoms still kept stacking up?
I had less pain around like where you usually have cramps and things during your time of the month. I had less pain there, but I still had pain everywhere else.
The whole body still had pain because you still had hormones that was imbalanced.
And my hormones were crazy. And I thought about it, but not really thought about it. Nobody had mentioned hormones before. Mm-hmm. And I was more moody. I was all over the place. Immediately, I had hot flashes, which now I can correlate to blood sugar. So a lot of it.
You had hot flashes and you were sweating like crazy.
I mean, yes, that honestly is, I was going to list that as one of my top 3, but.
Been there.
I mean, I couldn't dry off from getting out of the shower without pouring sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be sitting here on the couch watching TV. I'd be pouring sweat for no reason.
Right. Not for no reason now, because I call it, people think these things happening to the health is random acts of health violence.
Right.
And I'm saying, bull, there's a cause and there's an effect. You just don't know what the cause is. So it feels random. Right. So let's talk about what you learned. Okay. So we got symptoms load just in 2 months down to like level 2 to 4 when they were like 8 to 10. And my thing is that I tell everybody that our program is 2-month launch pan to launch you into a year of autoimmune turnaround. If this is the first 2 months, this is the tip of the iceberg of what's going to continue to happen over the course of the next year. So my question for you is, what were some of your biggest, I mean, people want to know the secret sauce. People want to know how you did it because there's tens of thousands of Joys out there. So they want to know how you did it. So let's talk through some of the biggest, the most pivotal things that you did that was game changing for you here.
Learned how to aid my digestion.
What the hell is that? Most people are saying, including your doctors.
That was huge. And keeping their blood sugar balanced, which I had no idea about the fat, fiber, protein being in each snack even that you have during each day, that you need it close to bedtime. You need a snack like that to sleep well.
But that being said, managing blood sugar and eating healthy for you was a completely new thing.
Completely.
This is not an easy thing.
No, you have to be committed.
But you had to take baby steps.
Exactly. Yes.
But you were willing.
Right.
I mean, I'd love for you to share just some of the first couple mastermind calls. You were sharing some of those wins about just learning about how to balance your blood sugar. Give me an example of like, what was like a big win in those first couple of weeks in blood sugar that was like major aha, like, oh, I did this and this changed. It was like eureka. Can you share one of those things?
Like I said, the snack of the fat, fiber, protein close to bedtime, I started sleeping through the night, 7 hours at least. And that was unheard of for me for I don't know how long. And so then I felt better throughout the day. And a couple of the supplements helped with that too, but just the eating and balancing blood sugar alone, that was huge.
Well, and people don't realize you also had chronic fatigue syndrome, and how much of your chronic fatigue syndrome was because you weren't sleeping, because your blood sugar sucked.
Right. And my adrenals were flat. So yes.
By the way, did you guys know if you don't sleep, you don't make or balance hormones? If you don't sleep, that's also when your liver detoxifies a ton from your body. You're building up toxins and inflammation. And then also when you don't sleep, when you don't make these hormones, you're not just killing, like, you're not just like tired. You're literally starving the ovaries and the adrenals of hormone making. right? So what did you learn about your adrenals?
I learned that they are crazy during the day, but even throughout the night. And I would have never guessed that.
Was your cortisol sky high or were they like flatlining?
It started sky high and then it basically flatlined.
Yeah.
When you were explaining to me, you said, well, first of all, you're in stage 3.
Stage 3 adrenal fatigue, right? Where you're getting closer and closer to flatline.
I was relieved with everything you found out and taught me. I mean, I was like, yes, I'm going to get some help if I do what she says. So the results, none of it, I was happy about it all. I mean, I was around here doing the happy dance. I was like telling my husband, I was like, you don't understand. When she helps me with these results, I'm going to feel better. And
I think he did understand.
He wasn't really supportive about me doing the program. He just figured I'd tried so many things, nothing could work. And now he's like, what can you eat? What can I make you to eat? And he's offering to make me gluten-free things. He'll make things 2 ways, or either he'll eat it gluten-free. That's mainly how he's turned things. And he saw that it helps me and that I'm happier. And so he's all for it.
He figured out a happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
How many husbands don't realize that? How many people watching this right now, you wish your husband would realize that? Happy wife, happy life.
It took this program, it took into a couple of weeks. And I think I told you in one of the calls, I caught him like listening from the other room as I went through the 8 weeks. And I was like, he wants to know because he can see a difference. And then he said after about the 6th week, he's like, yeah, I can see a big difference.
A lot of people will hold out on wins because they're not really sure it's real. I think sometimes when other people notice, even before you do, sometimes for us, some people, it's more meaningful. Like, oh, my hairdresser noticed my hair is growing back. And it's like, sometimes it happens that we don't even notice it. But when other people do, it's like extra validation that it does. And it's great when it's your partner.
Even I had a visit with my primary care doctor, just a routine thing once a 6 months, whatever. And she's like, what are you doing? And I told her, I said, I've joined this program. Remember, I asked you for tests, and she did the testing. She's open-minded. She's like, she kept asking me more questions. It was half an hour before I knew it. And it's supposed to be like a 15-minute appointment, you know. She went late into her lunch hour with me.
Your primary care doctor?
Yes.
I love that. So you were able to find a primary care provider that led with curiosity, that was curious about what you were learning.
Yes. She asked if I would show her my lab work. And she asked her name, of course, and about the program. And she's really interested.
Oh my gosh, I love that. A lot of people think like somehow like going the functional medicine route or going natural route, and even working with an MD, somehow it's anti-MD, and it's not. It's not against any of the conventional treatments or doctors, because I was one of them. And right. I myself and them are damn good doctors and damn caring people. I just wasn't trained in any of these other methods of dealing with hormones or fibromyalgia or even thyroid or anything besides just here's a pill, little lady, go away. That's right. What I was trained to do. And I'm a good doc, right? But it wasn't until I fell sick that I was like, and I was dying. And I was literally like, I have to do something else different, not just for patients, really just to save my own life first.
Right.
Yeah. You had a doctor that was willing to continue to work with you on this.
That's why I've kept going to her over the past 15, 17 years, because she has always been open and she wanted me to share anything I found out about fibro with her, because she admitted, I haven't been taught. Just if you learn anything, share with me.
Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of people don't have that humility. A lot of doctors will just poo-poo whatever it is you're doing. But the truth is they don't know. I find that judgment, it comes from fear.
Yes.
Curiosity actually comes from courage. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you find a doctor that's leading with curiosity, they're courageous and they're going to be willing to work with and collaborate with you, and they're open. Whereas if you have a doctor who's judgmental, they're just coming off from fear. They're worried you're going to discover that they don't know.
Right. Fortunately, she's not that way. I'm very lucky. I know most are the other way.
Okay. So you mentioned that digestion was huge for you. What did you learn about your digestion that was like a big game changer?
About stomach acid. Also, that the Nexium I take for IBS is actually working against me.
Yeah.
Very hard to hopefully be able to come off of that. So, and also, you think I was doing a commercial for her. She honestly said that would be great. My primary care doctor. She wants me to get off of that.
I love that.
Anyway, my stomach acid, where it causes, I'm not going to be able to digest the nutrients, the vitamins that I need through food alone. So I have to work on my digestion tract through so many things you taught me.
I'm going to quiz you on one of the things I taught you just to test your knowledge with our audience. All right. Because they don't know this. Okay. which is there's a huge link with digestive problems with people with autoimmunity. It's like chicken or the egg, they're feeding each other. And so how many percentage of people with autoimmune disease have low stomach acid? What is the percentage of people? 90, well, the percentage of people that are watching right now, how many percentage of those people are actually already low in stomach acid, which is just one step in digestion?
I was going to say 90%.
Thank you. I leaked it out.
I knew that one, but still you leaked it out.
But that's so huge. And I don't know any functional medicine doctor or program that truly incorporates educating you about digestion to fully explore what that really means. Because when you digest your food better, it means so many different things. Low stomach acid is not just food. It affected a lot of other nutrients, vitamins and nutrients, which were crucial in dealing with IBS or fibromyalgia.
Right.
All right. So you said digestion and you said blood sugar balance. Anything else that you thought was a big game changer for you in the program?
Like you hear everywhere, drink water, but the amount of water, and I started off dedicated to that.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge in helping everything. And I still do that. And I've been told to drink water before, but nobody ever explained
why.
That's the thing I loved about this program the most, is you taught us and you explained what it did for all the parts of our body.
Okay, here's the thing. I think the reason we get out of the box crazy ass results, like in your case, like you've been trying to deal with this for 20 years. Why do you get results in 2 months you haven't gotten in 20 years? And I firmly believe that educational format is the most important thing. Like, think about this. I mean, we invest $60 to $100 to $200,000 in college for our kids. Education, right? We even, we educate ourselves when we start a new hobby, when we play an instrument. I mean, dog training, educating yourself about your dog and training your dog is like $2,000 to $5,000.
Right.
I mean, so we understand an educational model for most of the important things in life. Yet no one understands the crucial nature of education in the most important issue in our life, which is the fight for our lives, our health, right? And so for me, I think what's really different here is, as a creator of this program and this protocol, my job is to make sure everybody understands the why behind every one of those pillars, which are the basis of what's feeding autoimmunity. And if you understood the why in the blood sugar module, the digestion module, the thyroid module, the hormone module, the food mapping module, the gut healing module, if you were behind all that and you understood the why behind all of it, the how becomes easy. So think about this. Your husband said you tried so many things and it wasn't successful, therefore poo-pooing you, right?
Right.
Well, if you tried so many things, which is what many people in the audience is saying, I've tried so many things, why am I going to try one more thing? I'm going to ask you that question. Why would you try this thing if it's just one more thing?
I was someone who, like you say, was a stalker of the basic Transform page, and for a year at least. And it kept coming back. And I said, well, all of these people are willingly doing these videos. She's not paying them. I guess interviews like you're doing now with me, that's what convinced me. And it just seemed to make sense to me that if you knew the root cause was what I needed to know and how to fix it. So it was out of desperation. And finally, I was like, these people are not lying. I'm going to try it too.
So you're saying it's proof?
Yes.
Yeah, it's important to have proof. I was doing an interview last week and someone said there is a lot of scammers out there. There are a lot of fake gurus out there. There are a lot of people who don't know what the hell they're talking about, because it is a real interview. These are real people. These are real results. So proof was important to you. And basically you were skeptical because a lot of things failed.
Right. I just figured this has to work.
Okay. What was your favorite thing about the program?
It was the teaching style.
Share more about the teaching style, why it worked for you.
Well, when you first started on the first mastermind class, you said your intention was to teach us about our bodies and the role. And
I actually said this. I said, my job, if I do it right, at the end of this, I'm going to teach you how to think like me.
Right. And I thought, hey, I said, I can't even remember what I did yesterday for lunch. I can't take all this in. But then the method of you teach of going over everybody's results, you take that all in. And so when it's your turn, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
And just the training was a lot for me.
You said that going through results with others, this is a group program. You're going through this with other people. A lot of people think that's a problem. I want to ask, what's your experience with going through this program with a group of people? How was that?
It was honestly, it was great. And when you would ask us to unmute and share, everybody was supportive and we all had autoimmune issues. So we had something in common. So yes, they're a bunch of strangers, but you quickly realize they're not totally different at all. It helped going over there because I'm like, oh, I have that symptom too. Even though I haven't been diagnosed, I was like, well, I have that too. Maybe if I try what she suggested for her, it'll help me too. It was just really helpful. I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Well, you know what's cool about it? I call it hyperlearning, where you learn 10 times fast. Because here's the thing, if you think about the traditional model where you're huddled in a corner in an exam room with a doctor for 15 minutes and call it good every 6 weeks, even if you were to learn something, you're the only one that learned that something from your 1 or 2 questions in that 15 minutes. That's it, those 6 weeks. In these mastermind calls that we did together, we're going through questions from 20, 30 different questions and different types of results. And so a lot of times what I realize a lot of people say is they didn't even think to ask a certain question and they learned from someone else's question. Oh my God, aha. Like you talked about sweating. Most people think these sweats from menopause is from hormonal imbalance only or lack of estrogen. Doctors think this. Mm-hmm. And what did you discover?
That is also blood sugar.
It's huge. Blood sugar is huge.
Yes.
What happens is these hormonal changes, when your hormones really shift, it makes you more vulnerable to highs and lows of blood sugar. And every time you're swinging low, you hot flash and sweat like crazy because that's a hypoglycemic reaction as a result of hormone imbalances. But it's both hormones as well as blood sugar. And you can fix blood sugar in 24 hours. Hormones will take more time to balance out, but you can end night hot flashes and sweating within 24 hours if you learn how to master your blood sugar.
Right.
That's why it's hyperlearning, because you learn 10 times fast. Because like when people saw you and what happened when you're sweating, there were people that were just like, whoa, aha, like I'm going to end my hot flashes tomorrow.
Yes. You learn so much more. Like you said, hear things from others that you meant to ask, but you had forgot and hadn't thought to ask before.
Yeah. Question. Why did you almost not join the program?
It goes back to I had tried so many things and so many specialists. And it crossed my mind, even when I believed the testimonials and the interviews, I thought, well, that's great that it helped them. But, I can't be helped. I'm just going to be
sick. Will it work for me?
Right. I'm like, it can't possibly help. If I was going to get better, it would have through all these other specialists. And then, as I already mentioned to you, it was the financial issue. I just finally said, enough, I'm going to do it. And I had to put my health above all else because I had no quality of life. I was tired of living. It was either do this and get help, or to be honest, I don't know what else. Just being honest.
Yeah, no, thank you. So let's talk money first. You finally had to put your health first, and you had to invest in your own education.
Yes.
Now you're at the other side of this. You've invested in your own education. What would you say to that Joy 2 months ago about investing in your own education around your health and your life like this?
Don't hesitate. Do it now. You should have done it a year ago when you found the program.
Really?
That would have been a year less of all this agony and hopelessness.
It's so interesting how when I actually ask a lot of alumni that question, that is a very common response. They're like, I wish I had found this 10 years ago, or I wish I found out this 5 years ago. Right. And then we had mentioned the other part of it was, will this work for me? You were in the program and you've watched 20, 30 other people with autoimmune diagnosis, no diagnosis all over the map. So you've seen these results with these people. And my question for you, after witnessing these results, will this work for you? Or will this work for somebody with multiple sclerosis? Will this work for someone with RA? What's your experience having watched real people go through this program?
We all have at least one thing in common, if nothing else. We all have autoimmune issues. Mm-hmm. And what you teach us is how to combat that. And so we all need to be doing the same thing regardless of our diagnosis. That's why I said I've got fibromyalgia, I've got chronic fatigue, and the list goes on, because none of it matters to me anymore. It's just I'm going to do what I was taught, and I know that I can feel better because all these other people can too. And they had, like you said, MS,
tons of Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, Hashimoto's.
All those things, and they need help just like me. Some of them even quicker than me, and that also was a good thing about people in the program who had already been in it a couple of weeks or seeing their results. That was just encouraging and inspiring that I'm going to get there too.
A lot of people actually are in the same situation as you, where they didn't have a spouse that was fully on board. And that's one of the barriers. You had to deal with that. Did you have to convince him? What did you have to do to advocate for yourself to get him on board to do this?
I know how to be honest, and you told me to be honest. I didn't tell him how much it cost.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out and paid for it on my own.
Yeah.
That's how important it was to me. The only reason he got on board was when he saw me getting better. I don't know. It's emotional because that is so huge that he's supportive now. But it took him seeing me getting better. I don't care what he thinks. I knew he wanted me better overall. He wants what's best for me.
Yeah.
He just didn't start putting the money into a program, not another program, but a program where a doctor would teach me what I've already been told. But that wasn't the case at all, because nobody has taught me what you did.
But the thing is, you're not paying for a program. You're paying for results.
Right. I needed hormone help. I knew that. And I couldn't get anybody to test for it.
Right.
I knew that I needed to be tested for food sensitivities just to be told that none of it's accurate, so we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It just was frustrating. I knew more what was wrong than they did, of course,
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you a question. What is something that you can do now effortlessly that 2 months ago you would have thought was impossible?
Something really simple is read.
Really?
And cognition, because my brain fog is so much better.
That is true. Do you remember you in week 1, week 2?
That was the first thing that got better. And I still can't believe it. I don't have to read the same paragraph 10 times to comprehend it. I can figure out my new iPhone. I mean, without.
We were like struggling with the iPhone right before this interview. I was like, you pull this down like this. It was so funny, but you did it.
But I know a lot of other things though. Where before I would have had to watch on YouTube a million times the same video to learn how to do something on it. I'll remember how to do this from now on after you showed me.
I showed you once how to do the unlock and you did it.
Now I will know.
Well, Joy, if there's somebody out there, I mean, there is going to be somebody out there. We have a Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease, with about almost 50,000 people in it right now. And there's about at least 10,000 Joys in there right now who are watching. And you're talking to 10,000 Joys who went through the same thing and is watching this. And they're wondering if you're real or fake, all this, same thing you thought. What would you say to somebody who was suffering with symptoms like you have and have had the same struggles with having their doctors really understand or listen or get the right testing or education? What would you say to the Joy that's sitting out there right now?
That it's not hopeless, that you have found a program that is worth investing in. You're worth it. Invest in it to get your health. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. I can plan things now and actually follow through. I don't have to cancel all the time. I have hope now. I thought I would be on the couch or in the bed. I mean, at one point I was bedridden for about 7 years before this. I have hope, and I honestly had lost total hope. And go ahead and join, because you can only get better. We're not fake. We're real people. And I was desperate. Don't get to that point even. You deserve to be healed. And the traditional medicine isn't offering that. Even most naturopaths aren't offering that. And you're going to learn so much to help you, your family members. If you have kids, I know what to test for now and the ranges it needs to be in and where I can go to get tested. I would have never known that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
That's really hits a nail on the head too, because a lot of people struggle with investing in educating themselves, but they will do it in a heartbeat for their kids. Right. And how many people in the program have we seen that they're in the program, but they ended up helping their kids and their grandchildren?
I heard tons of stories like that. I can see that happening. Totally. Just like me having gluten intolerance and vitamin D. I found my dad has that. And there's so many things I could look back on. My mom's passed, but I was like, she had PCOS. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, and diabetes is an autoimmune disease. She had autoimmune disease and didn't even know it. Do you know how many doctors don't even know diabetes is an autoimmune disease?
Right.
Well, thank you, Joy. And thank you, Joy, for sharing your journey with us. That was really wonderful.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Dr. Maggie.
Have an awesome day. Joy actually is in her journey is really a classic example of someone who has gone the conventional medicine route. And even in seeing all these doctors and specialists, couldn't get results. Even in surgery, couldn't get results. And even without the support of a spouse, she had to do this on her own and advocate for herself, to educate herself about what are the underlying patterns that's feeding this autoimmunity. And it's really incredible to me. Now her brain fog, she said, was one of the first things that went away. And also now she realizes that when she saw the generation above her, her parents were really struggling with autoimmunity. And there were genetic components to autoimmunity, including diabetes, gluten intolerance that she didn't even know about. So these are really common patterns I see with all people dealing with autoimmunity. If you're interested in learning more about our program, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally, join our Facebook group, or you can chat us as well in the link above or below this video. Start a chat with our team. We got lots of case studies and resources to share with you. If you know anybody that's suffering from fibromyalgia, hormonal hell, irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, depression or anxiety, hypothyroidism, go ahead and put their name in the comment section below, because you know what? Sharing is caring and raising awareness. Thank you so much for doing that. Thanks, everybody.